For 4 months, my bodyguard did her job perfectly. Agent Jade Monroe kept me safe, maintained professional distance, followed every protocol. She was efficient, competent, invisible when she needed to be. I thought that's all it was. Just a job. Then last week, I got sick. Nothing serious, just the flu. I told her to take the day off, that I'd be fine alone in my apartment. She refused. Spent 3 days taking care of me, making soup, monitoring my temperature, staying awake all night to make sure I was breathing okay. On day 3, delirious with fever, I asked her, "Why are you doing all this? This isn't in your job description." She tucked the blanket around me and said quietly, "Because keeping you safe isn't just my job anymore. It hasn't been for a long time." Before we dive into how my bodyguard revealed that professional duty had become something much deeper, drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from, and please subscribe to help the channel grow. This story is about the difference between obligation and devotion, small acts that mean everything, and learning that sometimes the person protecting you is also quietly, carefully falling in love with you. My name is Dakota Ellis. I'm 29, and I'm an investigative journalist who exposed a human trafficking ring 6 months ago. The story won awards and put dangerous people in prison. It also put a target on my back. My editor insisted on hiring personal security, which is how I met Agent Jade Monroe. She arrived on a Monday morning. Medium height, athletic build, dark hair always in a tight ponytail, hazel eyes that assessed everything. She wore practical black clothing and moved with quiet efficiency. Everything about her said professional. "Ms. Ellis, I'm Agent Monroe. I'll be your security detail for the foreseeable future. Call me Dakota, and thank you. I prefer formality, helps maintain boundaries." She pulled out a tablet. "Let's discuss your routine and establish protocols." She was all business. No warmth, no personality, just pure competence. The first few weeks were exactly that, professional. Jade shadowed me everywhere but stayed invisible. She'd scan rooms, check exits, position herself strategically. She barely spoke unless necessary. "I'm heading to the kitchen," I'd say. "I'll clear it first. I'm going to interview a source downtown. I'll drive. I've vetted the location." Everything was protocol. Everything was by the book. I appreciated her competence but found her cold, like having a very efficient robot following me around. Week 3. Small things started changing. She began arriving 5 minutes early every morning with coffee. Somehow knew I liked oat milk lattes. When I worked late, she'd quietly order dinner and leave it on my desk. When I forgot my phone charger, she had a spare in her bag. "How did you know I needed that?" I asked about the charger. "I pay attention. It's part of the job." "Is buying my coffee part of the job too?" "Keeping you functional is part of keeping you safe." Always an explanation. Always professional. But it felt like more. Month 2, I started testing boundaries. "Tell me something about yourself." "That's not relevant to your security." "We spend 12 hours a day together. One personal fact won't kill you." Long pause. "I have a younger sister. She's a teacher." "See? That wasn't so hard." "Can we focus on your schedule now?" But I'd gotten something. A crack in that professional armor. Over the following weeks, I collected small facts. She was former military. She'd been doing protection work for 5 years. She preferred action movies to dramas. She ran 6 miles every morning before her shift started. "Why do you run so much?" I asked. "Keeps me sharp. I need to be able to protect you if something happens." "Has something ever happened?" "Not on my watch, and it won't." The way she said it, fierce, protective, made something flutter in my chest. This wasn't just professional pride. This was personal. Month 3, I started noticing more. How Jade would position herself between me and any potential threat, even minor ones like aggressive panhandlers. How she'd memorize faces of everyone we encountered. How she'd stay late after her shift ended, doing extra security checks that seemed unnecessary. "You don't have to work overtime," I said one evening. "I'm safe here." Just being thorough. "Jade, you've checked the perimeter 3 times. Go home. Rest." "I'll rest when I know you're secure for the night." I'm always secure. You make sure of that. She looked at me then, really looked at me. That's the point. One night, I had a nightmare about the trafficking case. Vivid, terrifying. I woke up at 3 a.m., gasping. Jade was in the guest room but appeared at my door within seconds. Dakota? I heard you. Are you okay? Just a nightmare. I'm fine. She stood in the doorway, clearly debating something. Do you want me to stay? Just until you fall back asleep? You don't have to. I know, but do you want me to? Yes. She pulled a chair next to my bed, sat down. I'm right here. You're safe. I know I am. You're here. Something crossed her face. Surprise, maybe, or something warmer. I fell asleep with her watching over me. When I woke up at 7 a.m., she was still there, keeping vigil. Month 4, everything changed. I got sick. Started feeling awful on a Tuesday morning. Fever, body aches, congestion. The flu, probably. I need to cancel today's meetings, I told Jade. I'm staying home. Understood. I'll maintain security from here. You don't have to. I'm just going to sleep all day. Take a day off. That's not how this works. Jade, you'll get sick too if you stay. I don't get sick, and I'm not leaving. I was too exhausted to argue. Went back to bed. When I woke up hours later, there was soup on my nightstand, homemade, still warm, and medicine, and water, and a note in Jade's precise handwriting. Eat this. Take the medicine. I'll check on you in 2 hours. She did check on me. Every 2 hours. Taking my temperature, making sure I stayed hydrated, bringing more food. This really isn't necessary, I said around hour 6. You're running a 102 fever. Someone needs to monitor you. I'm not going to die from the flu. I prefer to be sure. Day 2 was worse. Fever spiked to 103. I was delirious, drifting in and out of consciousness. But every time I woke up, Jade was there, changing the cold compress on my forehead, helping me drink water, speaking softly, reassuringly. You're okay. I'm right here. You're safe. You should go home, I mumbled. I'm disgusting. You're sick. And I'm staying. This isn't your job. I know. I was too feverish to process what that meant. Day 3, the fever finally broke. I woke up clear-headed for the first time in 3 days. Jade was sitting in the chair next to my bed, reading. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair messier than I'd ever seen it. Have you slept at all? I asked. She looked up. You're awake. How do you feel? Better. Answer the question. Have you slept? I've rested. That's not the same thing. I needed to make sure you were okay. Your fever was dangerously high last night. Jade, you've been taking care of me for 3 days straight. This isn't in your job description. She set down her book, looked at me directly. I know. Then why are you doing it? Long silence. The longest I'd ever experienced with her. Finally, she said quietly, because keeping you safe isn't just my job anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. My heart stopped. What do you mean? I mean that somewhere between month 1 and month 2, protecting you stopped being a professional obligation and became something personal. I don't just keep you safe because it's my job. I do it because the thought of anything happening to you is unbearable. Jade, I'm not supposed to feel this way. There are rules about personal involvement with clients. But when you got sick, when your fever spiked and you were barely coherent, all I could think was that I needed to take care of you. Not because it's protocol, but because I care about you. More than I should. I sat up slowly. How long have you felt this way? Honestly, since week 3, when you asked me to tell you something personal and I realized I wanted to. I wanted you to know me, not just as your bodyguard, but as a person. And that's when I knew I was in trouble. Why didn't you say anything? Because I'm your bodyguard. Because there are ethical considerations. Because I thought if I just stayed professional, these feelings would go away. She laughed without humor. They didn't. They got stronger. Every coffee I brought you, every time I made sure you ate, every moment I spent watching you work, watching you sleep, making sure you were safe. I was falling deeper. I thought you were just really good at your job. I am good at my job, but with you, it's more than that. The extra security checks? I'm not being thorough.